Hi y'all, Mike Peace Woodturning. Got a couple of sharpening tips for you for this tip of the week. I want to give a shout out for Don Lyons, who suggested this tip of what do you do when your flute is too short for your Varigrind jig. Get this sweep on a bowl gouge or a spindle gouge. Some people are free hand sharpened, but I'm one of those big believers in a jig. Most folks use a Varigrind jig or something very similar that fits in here. You have to first, when you mount it, you have to measure it out a consistent distance. Some people set it at 1 3/4 inch, which is what I use, but I also have one here for 2 inches. Some people recommend 2 inches, so I have both these. You can make you one of these little blocks, and then you bring it up. I'm not going to get into all the details of sharpening. The point I want to make is when you clamp this down to get it flat, it rests against the flute. Well, what happens after you've been grinding it a while and you've run out of flute? Here's an example of a spindle gouge that won't come out 1 3/4 before it starts getting past the flute. So here's your trick. All you have to do is grind you a flat spot further down on the flute. Now you want to work at it to make sure you get a consistent edge on the flute size on each side to make sure you got it flat. Here's a couple of examples of some I picked up from in a discard box somewhere where somebody had used that technique and they got the last full measure out of these two gouges by grinding these things flat. Next I want to show you a couple of tips on the Varigrind. I use Doug Thompson tools, but he doesn't pay me. I pay for mine like everybody else. I don't get them for free, but this is a great little template that I want to show you. While we're talking about Varigrind jigs, let me show you a great reference, and I'll have a link to this in the description for for this video on Doug Thompson's site. Doug has a scale model. If you print this thing out, you can just lay your jig right on here, and it's a good angle setting for all of your tools. That's the way Doug does it. Other people will move the leg, but I find this works for me. The other little tip I've got is once you get that set, draw a line here, and you might even consider drilling a small hole through it where you can just hold it up to the light when you got it in the exact position.